Hi, everyone, and we are back with another episode of Kai's Musings. Today, we have our friend, the Crafting Gamer, with us, and he's going to be asking Kai a few questions
Hello.
about various things involving base building with a tabletop RPG. Go ahead, guys.
All right. You got questions?
Yep.
All
There's those
right.
technical issues.
No, I don't. I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, you just dropped a camera.
I just
Okay.
dropped the camera. That's it.
Well, you disappeared, so it's like, oh no.
I'm good. My
Okay.
CMOS battery is on. I'm happy.
Well, basically, Kai, questions and answers can be definitely had here, but most of the conversation is going to be steered basically to what we had last time, which was talking about how to build up cities in difficult places and taking advantage of the local wildlife, quote unquote.
All right.
We were talking. Oh, Donimon. This Donimon. No, it was something else. It was basically, if you said it right, it ended with fuck. Rapanafuck.
Repent.
I
Repanifuck.
have,
Repent.
I have a property right next to there. That's
Yeah,
what we were
I
talking
remember.
about last time.
I remember the conversation now.
Yeah, because I started actually going looking through the books you gave me, and I started tallying up what it would cost me. Because if I'm going to do that, it's not like what I'm doing here, where it's safe and I can build up one at a time and stuff like that. No, I'm where that is. I'm going to need to just basically drop a city, and I started looking at what that would cost. It's like, good God,
It's a lot of money.
that will cost me. Even with the primary denominator being silver, not gold, it will cost me tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of gold.
Okay. You have some things to remember here. Key thing. How don't claim a lot of hexes. Because remember, your price
Oh, no.
if you're using Kingmaker as your base of rules, the price tag of all your stuff goes up based on how much land you've claimed. Not explored, claimed. And thus count as civilized under your dominion. Staying tiny, as in one, just maintaining, go with the almost, how must I put it, the German city state mentality of the free city of fill in the blank, or whatever you want to call this place. And just have the land of your 13-mile hex, and then the 13 miles in all directions, the hexes, the 6 hexes surrounding you for the whole 7 that you have. Explore, protect, defend that, and you get to have the cheapest gate line, baseline of operations that allows you to build tall. Don't play wide, play tall, and it allows you to get by on the money. It's ridiculously cheap. 1 second, I gotta figure out where my rules for this are. If I'm going to be talking about this, I need to do more than just remember some up top of my head. I need to think about what it actually costs. But I need to figure out where that book is. Is it in? No, that's the wrong book. I don't know. It's around here somewhere. It's under 100 different things that could be anywhere. All right, no, oh shit.
Oh God, I know the feeling.
No, my rules are around here somewhere. They're in some place.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, you're just going to be having a lot of fun with going with the cheapest shit you can get your hands on.
Oh yeah, well, I was even accounting for the fact that if I build in wood.
Yeah, wood for half price.
I remember you telling me about that. Wood is half price.
Yeah, half price, cheap. Yeah, no.
Given the fact that I'm going to be in marshes, woods is probably the best option anyway.
No, you're going to be. It's going to suck at first. It's going to be expensive at what you think is expensive because running a town is expensive. Ah, shoot. Let me go see it. Okay, I know.
Oh yeah.
I know. I don't have this. I know I have this book in PDF. Sorry, I don't have this just on standby. Wake up my.
Yeah.
But no, I know this is what some people would call the wonderful, the wonderful spreadsheeting, and this is what you really want to do when there's nobody else around, which is kind of like now.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing wrong with spreadsheeting this stuff. And
I'll be over at the desk.
What's that?
All right. I'll be at the desk in just a second. Here we are. I thought you were going to share something.
No, I was just pulling it up so that way I can
you can reference it.
Because otherwise I'm doing this all entirely off of. Hey, I read this a while ago and I'm misremembering things because I don't want to be that guy who's just going to quote stuff off of memory. Let's see, Ultimate Campaign. Because for all of Pathfinder's faults, they at least produced 2 books that didn't suck. So,
yeah, Ultimate Campaign is probably the best book they did. Not the core rulebook.
No, because Ultimate Campaign is actually almost a lot of system agnostic rules. It's a lot of systems that you can apply to almost anything.
I need this for my Traveler game. I need this for this game. I need this for that game. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, sure, their mass combat army rules kind of suck, but
when was the last time a really good mass combat army rule came out that was fucking embraced? Like, unless it's actually a tabletop skirmish game, it's not going to be well. Okay, I mean, you remember Battle System?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you remember War? Was it Warmaster? Who was the companion for that? Anyway, like everything TSR tried to do with mass battle stuff, up into and including Birthright, which the idea was neat. The execution for mass battles was not there.
Birthright's army system was also terrible, but at least they did one thing that didn't completely suck. They gave you rules on how to recruit an army. The
mustering was amazing.
The one thing that Pathfinder's Ultimate Campaign did not do well is tell you. They tell you how much money it costs to maintain an army, but not to pay for one or raise it. So a lot was like, okay, so you just go and a lot of it comes down to, I know, is the whole, you ask the GM, what do I have available and blah, blah, blah. It's a whole lot of, I have to get permission from the GM.
Mother may I.
And
Mother May
I don't like the Mother May I game. I've never liked it. I never will. And deep down, it's what the system requires. Like, it's one of those, well, do I have access to all of this? And so I know when I was doing all the homework to run the kingdom that I was running for you guys, I was just adapting some of the concept rules of, no, I'm going to assume that at certain occasions, I'm going to say, I'm putting the footwork into how to create this. And I know would make some GMs go, oh, no, you can't just you can't create maps and you can't create the ASVAB. You can't do that. And I'm like, why not? Well, because I want to fuck you over by saying everybody's everybody's a 10. Every peasant has a 10 in their stats, and I'm like, that ain't fucking how the bell curve works. Plus, like the military, I only want the top 10% to. So I'm gonna run tests so I can find the top 20% and then recruit the only 10% and then send the other 80 back down to be civilians. Sorry, congratulations, you came, but you didn't make the top. You didn't make the top 20 percentile. We don't want you. Don't call us, we'll call you. There we go. And if I ever get to the point where I have to, do Nazi German, Russian scrape the bottom of the barrel, and it's like, congratulations, kid. I know you're 14, but here's your rifle. Go out there and shoot something. And
Oh, and whatever you do, don't miss because you only got 14 shots.
Oh no, you won't live that long. The Americans got machine guns. You fucking won't live that long.
Oh, you only got one shot. Just take it and die.
Well, yeah, that's why they hand you a bolt action or a Panzerfaust. You only get one shot. At that point, the rest of the Shermans are going to kill you. It doesn't fucking matter. We know what you are. But I'm playing a role-playing game. I don't want to play a guy who's that level of, like, I want to play a good, because I know that we're playing role-playing games. The idea behind playing a role-playing game is that you're playing a power fantasy. And my power fantasy is I don't want to be a shit, like, man, if you could have any fantasy, what would you have? I want to be a political leader who's not garbage. Ooh, now that is a power now that is a power fantasy. Like, I want to be able to hit, I want to be able to slam God in the face with a stick. Okay, that's one thing. I want to be able to break dragons with my bare hands. I want to rip reality apart. I just want to have a balanced budget and no corruption. Oh, dude, we don't play a role-playing game around here. That's, fuck. We play fantasy, not delusions. I know.
Yeah, I could piss a positive piss test with that.
Yeah.
I really could.
But that's I know that's the level of stupid crazy I go for, but
I like stupid crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I
mean,
now crafting.
Yeah.
When you're trying to build up your nation using the Kingdom Builder system for Ultimate Campaign, Ultimate Ruler, those two books, the most important thing I'm going to just go with here is I'm just going to go down through the PDF quick to get down to a certain page. As soon as it loads, past honor, I've got better engines that do than that. I gotta find the right book. Fame, glory. Nope. This PDF is garbage, even though I bought it. Okay. There it is. I just need the kingdom chart. Okay. The most important thing you're going to find out here is I know you were looking at the books. They're trying to figure out the price tags and everything. Correct? Like you're seeing like build prices and.
Yeah.
Or am I off base?
No, I've been looking at the prices and things like that. Plus, it's not just for like the potential of building a city in the middle of nowhere. It's also like I do kind of want to build up my little settlement, which means I got to start actually doing that, which I haven't done yet.
Okay, there's two systems that this game.
The Dargon. Oh, Dargon.
Oh, it's as big as it's going to get.
I'll shut up here.
Now,
no. Fort Dargon. I thought you were going to give that away. I thought you said to the city of Ream.
Did I? I thought I said I need to think about that. That is a decision I need to consider, because I've learned the hard way, if I just oh, that sounds great. Plop. 5 minutes later, oh fuck, what have I done?
Yeah. Now, remember,
Yeah.
this Ultimate Campaign's got 2 systems in there. They have the
That
downtime
magical.
personal building engines rules, which is not Kingdom. Was that?
Yeah.
And the downtime personal business rules are way different and much more smaller, more interesting, and more granular. It's more crunchy. It's like it's all about connections and finding resources, and you can run things and build up things in the civilian side of things far cheaper, far easier than it would be to build it as a with the impersonalness of being a ruler of an empire, ruler of a kingdom. Now, if we're going to build a kingdom, the important thing you're going to see here is this wonderful leadership thing. This was for a while there. I was really harping on, hey, who's going to do what jobs, and this is critical now because that bonus that you, if you've got the book, it's page 227. It's the kingdom sheet. It's your chart of joy. And you'll see ruler, and consort. Consort doesn't matter, but your ruler and your co-ruler are very, very, very important because the bonuses that come from being for like loyalty, stability. Fuck it. When you play tall, you're not going to have any problem whatsoever with loyalty or stability. So you can actually ignore loyalty, stability. You can't ignore it, but because you got to have at least somebody doing the job. It doesn't matter if you hired, Bob off the street and Bob's just a plain generic 10 in all his stats. He's just some guy who wandered in and went, I'm looking for a job. And you were like, congratulations, you're now my head counselor. And because you get huge penalties for not having these jobs filled. And when you're a small country, not having these penalties can become very, very terrible when you don't have a lot of infrastructure. But you do want to have at least somebody filling the job. He can be a nameless, rubber stamper whose only job is to, stamp paperwork and, he doesn't do anything else. And you're fine. Your general, your counselor, whatever, your grand diplomat, whatever. Your heir, doesn't matter. High priest, doesn't matter. And because when you're first starting this entire thing out, you only need to really worry about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs. 6 jobs that actually matter. Your ruler, your co-ruler. You need to have a co-ruler, somebody who's your designated second. You need to have your magister. You need to have your marshal. You need to have a treasurer. You need to have and the viceroy does not matter because the viceroy is the colonial governor, and you're not a colony, so viceroy does not count. But you need a spy master. So, there's your 5 people who actually matter, and you want to find good people to do these 5 jobs because all of them give you bonuses to the economy roll. Just them standing there gives you bonuses to economy. And that's all that matters because you can have an empty field with a tent. And if you got 6 good people who can just work, done. You're getting free cash every month just by having some tents in a field because somehow they managed to just make money appear.
There's no USA yet. There's no collapse of U.S. aid in your kingdom. It's there. It's raking in the money.
Yep. And the thing here is that reason, because if the reason why I say these 5 people matter immensely, the spy master gets to decide every month where they slap their their dex or intelligence, because the thing is, level doesn't matter. It's raw stats. It's your raw stat block that matters. So
if you find out you've got a fucking superhuman with an 18 in one of his stats in your roster somewhere, and when you're group guys, hire him for a job. Don't put him out there to fucking earn XP. No, put him in there for a job.
Yep.
Let the fucker just accrue bonuses.
Yeah. So this is why you do the MEPS train. This is why you have MEPS and ASVAB. This is why you go out there and you go run your recruits through a series of three physical tests, 3 mental tests. Here, how much can you lift? Here's 10. Here, this is a really easy way to do it. Here is 10 easy rolls. DC 13, like DC 12, 13 rolls. Simplistic. But the thing here is you make them roll it, do this test 10 times. And you watch how often they roll. A straight 10, a guy who got straight 10s, he's going to possibly make it half the time. Actually, he's going to fail that thing approximately 65% of the time. He's going to fail. But if he's got a 14 or a 16 in his stat, he's going to make the test now 50% or more. And now by having them roll repeatedly, you can start to push the 8s, the 8s and 10s, the subpars that you don't want. You go, well, now that and you do this for every stat, and now you've created, well, it's the ASVAB test, it's MEPS. Congratulations. Here's your physical. Here's your mental tests, and now you can, some and now you can actually hone in through gameplay mechanics what stat block they are, because you can't go up to somebody and go, "Dear sir, what's your stat block?" And because most GMs will go, "Yeah, no, I ain't telling you that shit." So you got to figure out how you're going to game the system and figure out. Was that?
Oh, this isn't Sword Art Online?
It literally. No. This turns into Sky High.
Yeah.
What's your job? Sidekick.
Yep. And I know this is gaming the system, and I know it's kind of fucking cheap, and most GMs will go, "You motherfucker," and I'll be like, "Look, this is how I guarantee I get people with at least 3 12s and no 8s in my I want at least I want people I want my NPCs and followers to have PC stat blocks. I don't want a bunch of drooling retards who go, I'm here to help, unless you like dear sir, unless you got an 18 in your strength, I don't want you. And it's like, you go make them do some runs. You can make them do some agility tests. Make them, count without using their fingers. Do some perception tests. Figure out some social tests. And hey, look at that! You've now got. You can now figure out that what stat array was this NPC built on. And if it's like commoner, I don't want them. You can just throw them into the go farm turds. Go be a turd farmer. Go watch Go
live with the Octiogue.
Yeah, I don't need you. I want somebody of at least the top 30 percentile. I prefer top 10, and that's what I want. And I'm going to fucking test it because by odds I'm going to get this. And suddenly your GM's like going, well, shit. Now I have to actually build NPCs using good stat arrays rather than a bunch of where they're humans, should they have all 10s and one stat of 12? Because that's what humans are. Boring and average. And all NPCs are dumb and lowbies and are nobodies. And I'm like, nah, I don't want those. I mean, that's like the look, they can go They can go stock shelves at a goddamn Walmart. Um, they can go push carts. They're not going to be. They're not going to be. Slinging spells, and I'm not going to invest several hundred gold worth of armor on top of that guy to, have Drooly McDrooleyson, who's can barely figure out how to walk out, put his pants on, be my fucking fighters. No, thank you. But no. Anyway, back to this. So it's like, so your spy master is giving, you're allowed to put your dex or your intellect into economy, economy, loyalty, or stability, and you're like, whatever. Look, cash. We need to fund. We need to fund the military, or fund the infrastructure, fund something. My spy master needs to be able to be actually useful. So you slap him in there because you don't want to have it. And you want to have somebody doing that job, because if he's vacant, you get a -4 penalty. You don't want that. And then your marshal, you can have a police officer, so that way he can add his wisdom or dex into the economy. And so yeah, you have a guy he's your head of security. Your head of the police department. He's your secret service officer, or actually he's your FBI officer who you just send him in to go out there and shake everybody down, as you so need him. And you need to have somebody who's your Department of Education / somebody who's so that way they can add charisma or intelligence to economy. Yes, you want this job filled, and then you want to have you or somebody like you whose job is to also be the ruler who's slapping that economy around. Because now if you've put at least people with 2s or 3s in all of your you don't just hire some idiot off the some idiot who wrote a book one day and now he's in charge of something very, very important. And so you want to put somebody who's actually competent doing this stuff, so that way they're adding their charisma modifier into cash. So add all of those numbers together, divide by 3. That's how much free cash you're getting every single turn for purposes of building your kingdom. It's not free cash. You don't get to spend it on magic items and shit. You don't want to do that. But that's still giving you free money to build with. And suddenly, okay, so you got a 4, 4, 4. So you look at it like say you got like a 16, or between a 12 to a 16 out of your core of people, and suddenly divide it. So you're looking at 4 to 5 free build points, but before you rolled any dice, and then you get to roll a d20 and then divide by 3. Because remember, you got to add all your modifiers, then roll a d20, and most of the time some of your GMs will just be like, yeah, you can take 10. I know a lot, like after a while we were just like, okay, just take 10, because you're actually sending somebody whose job is to spend all day, the guy who's in charge of this, he spent, if you're not adventuring for a month, you can take a 10, but if you're there for only a week, you can't take a 10. And so it's like we just went with that and just gone, okay, we can just start working out our math, and eventually at a certain point your number's going to be so high that the d20 roll won't matter. Early on it matters, but you don't. So when you're figuring out your budget, you're kind of looking at that d20 roll. Since the d20 roll is at its most going to give you probably let's see here, 6 extra build points. If you roll a 20, an 18 to 20, you're only going to get maybe 6, 7 extra build points. So, but you kind of look at that as though that's your discretionary. You kind of put that as your discretionary fund, and you're trying to build your monthly spending budget based off the numbers that don't change. So you're looking at, when you're first starting, and so you have that 16, you're going to guarantee that no matter how bad the rolls are, no matter what anything happens, you're going to get a guaranteed 5 points to spend on something. It doesn't sound like much, but you gotta start from something, somewhere. And from there you can start, this is where you start looking for, hey, what stat booster items can I get to, boost my people, my lieutenants up. It's not, hey, what can I do to make myself better? No, what can I do for my lieutenants? Because a +1 of a +2 suddenly starts becoming very, very, very nice. And you're starting to look at other things. And from there, I know it sounds really, really, oh, this sounds so awesome. I can do all this cool stuff. Build all these buildings. Don't figure out where your home is, and then develop the terrain around it. Because you know how I just said if you got good officers, the 5 people who matter, your border, your Federal Reserve guys who are just there, and suddenly you're now going, oh, I can claim the area around me, build my roads, build the things that are going to give you free cash at all points. Always look at what can you build that will give you +1s to economy, plus or free, or anything with the words that has +1 build point, because that's important. So like say Bruce gives you hills or mountains that you can work around in. Spend your money, build a quarry, because it's a free build. It's a free build point. It's free cash. Fuck, it's free money. Build it, take it. If he gives you lots of woods, build sawmills. Boom, free cash. Say you're in the middle of an elven, you got forests in all directions as far as the eye can see. You got a nice 36-mile wide area of just trees. Laugh to yourself. I thank the gods, because now you can just build sawmills in every single hex, and bang, you now got 7 extra build points. Add in the +6, you now got 13 build points every single month just from the land. You're living in tents and shit. You got nothing available, because I don't know what you've got, nor do I care. And then you build some roads, and they're not even good roads. They're just dirt roads, just marked out trails that you can put a wagon down. And hey, look at that. You got 7 hexes. Boom. Okay, so I'm going to throw in that. Okay, so I have improved movement, and now I've got a +1 to my economy. That goes on top of my roll. So now that 16 that I had became a 17. And now that dice roll goes up a bit. Okay, do we have more hills? Quarries and mines can go in there. Do they give you? Do you have a river nearby? Boom, fisheries. Again, fisheries don't give you money, but it reduces consumption by your consumption by 1, which is important if you want to field a military or have a bigger city. Cool. I want to have farms. Farms are great. Farms give you free, pretty much free military at a certain point, and just start looking at what you can slam into every hex.
Am I cutting out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Am I
hearing
cutting
Kai
out?
just fine.
I must be cutting out then. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing here is, like, from there, you want to get your district thing out. And it's like what I just described you. So you have some wooded hills in the area and a river. Okay, you build them all up. Now you got so you got 2 hills and they're
Right now,
forested.
Kai's glitching out.
I am.
Just a little bit.
Oh, it's me.
I'm
talking.
sorry.
No,
Yeah,
it's
there's
me
only one
actually.
way to keep talking.
Oh, it's both of us.
Okay, sorry about that. But like, so now we like, so now we like, so you built your quarry, your mines, and your sawmills. You got your roads, and now you look at the idea of, hey, look, now I got like 13 foot. Like, oh, actually, I'm looking at now like 7, 10, 16, 16, 17. Okay, so say we're like 16 build points worth of fucking cash that we now get every single turn, like every month. 16, 16's coming in. Well, okay, you said you're going to put half price in this stuff because you're going to build out of wood, right?
Yep.
Okay, we
Well,
got wood. Okay, so you slam a bank. Yeah, it's going to be kind of sad to say, hey, look, it's a wooden bank, but hey, we're trying for free. We're trying to build cash here, fast and cheap. Well, hey, look at that. We threw a bank in on, by the end of like 6 months, you got a bank built and up and running. You can start, throwing around like several breweries, free this. Start just, hell, you've got like, if you have the mines, throw in a foundry because you can afford it now. And hey, look at that. Free economy, free build points because you have some mines connected to your town by a road. And the whole thing now is building up your cash. I hate to say it, but it's about cash. Everything you build should be about generating money, as much money as you can possibly get. Yes, this is going to create some interesting role playing problems because, well, you're going to have a bunch of merchants and a bunch of bankers and a bunch of people and scoundrels and black market folk who are going to be in your town. And so you have some players going around playing police officer. And remember what I was trying to like push you towards of, hey, you're going to be on the border of Rapanathuk. Well, you're going to want to eventually have things that are going to be, you're going to want to have your military academies or your magic item shops. Boy, are you going to want to have magic item shops. You're going to want to, and as people come through, just make sure you hit people, because from what it sounds like, you're not going to be just starting a town from, it may be a town that's in complete and total ruins. It may be whatever the starting town for Diablo 1 was. Can't remember its name.
Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan. So you may be just starting up in an abandoned wooden shack village outside some ruins, but you can grow, you can improve. So there's probably going to be something there when you get there. You don't know what it's going to be. You don't know what it is, but when you get there, it's not going to be simply a empty lot in the middle of nowhere and everyone kind of going, oh, this is a place. I live here. No, you're going to probably have to work. It's going to be a place you're going to work there. But since what I was teasing last week, which was, hey, go out of your way and start building the idea that you're not here to support you. You're here to support everybody who's traveling through your town. You want to have some nice shops. You want to have a cathedral that you can hire a priest who will actually bring you back from the dead. You're going to want to hire some weird people who are going to go out there and do fun things. You're going to want to throw some defenses up because, well, like I said, it's Bruce pointed out, it's right next to the world's biggest cemetery. So you're going to have your XP convoys that are going to be coming in. And you're going to,
yep.
I know I was kind of pointing out the idea that, hey, it's a joyful, just free bit of fun. But it is taking that mindset of playing a survival game. And every survival game I know is simply, you can't just skip and race straight to the best. You got to build up to it, and that requires cash. And since you're looking at the idea of everything's so expensive, I know. So try to find ways of bypassing that need to throw your own money into it. Because, yeah, 1,000 gold is 1,000 silver is 1,000 silver, but you don't want to throw that away. Now, do you? No, you got your own reason, because you're also got the idea that you could steal from your kingdom, take money and cause people to get angry because of corruption, because you're stealing all the cash from the treasury, to do stupid shit. But you're not gonna. But the exchange rate is half, so you're only gonna get. So while you're investing 1,000, you can only pull out 500 for each build point, and your treasury kind of fluctuates a bit there. It's a lot of budgeting, and I've had players who didn't give a shit. I had one player who who was like the most anti-corruption person I know. So he had it down to, it's like, no. Every dollar my kingdom generates goes right back into the kingdom. Nobody profits. Nobody. Well, you can profit, but you don't profit. There's no skimming off the top. And then one player who's like, I need cash. I'm broke. I bought a bunch of stupid shit. I'm going to go and the treasury has 48 build points in it. I'm going to take all of it out. And I'm like, you don't want to do that. And he's like, no, I can do it. I'm like, look at the penalty to your people's happiness and loyalty based on how much money you're taking out. But I really need 96,000 gold pieces. And I'm like, you don't want to do that. But I need 96,000 gold pieces. And I'm like, all right, make your loyalty check. He goes, wait, you never make us roll loyalty. I'm like, yeah, because most of you are smart enough to realize that you don't abuse the populace. So he went and did it. So he did it. I'm like, all right, make your loyalty check. All right, at a -48. Wait, what? Yeah, you get a penalty to loyalty for every build point you extract from the economy. And he was going, oh, fuck. Because suddenly now he's got, armed rebellions against him, because the people are now like, oh, he's about to lose, the colonies are all going into rebellion. Why? Because you took money. You took their money. No, it's my money. I'm the king. No, it's the kingdom's money. You're just the steward of the kingdom. No, I'm the king. I get to do whatever I want. That's not how the rules work. And so because he wanted to go buy a really big magic item for himself, suddenly he now has like three of his towns that went into armed rebellion because, well, he fucked up the loyalty check. Because I guess the one player,
you get that magic item, you got to
what was that?
Get a food taster. And that magic item, you might as well get a food taster.
Yeah, and the thing was
after that,
because of the fact that we looked at that player who did that and went, you do realize that we had built up all of our town's abilities to generate money. We weren't building up the generate loyalty and stability stats because we didn't need to. We had enough loyalty to keep everyone happy, and we had enough stability to fight off corruption. We were running at an even keel. We don't have a big positive because there's no need to have a big positive until the player who was wanting to be king gave himself all the money, and suddenly we're like, the system was never built for this. The system was built to generate cash and build armies. It was not generated to make you feel good about yourself. you're a wannabe useless king, and suddenly he now had to go fight a civil war because he was dumb and bankrupted the kingdom for his own benefit. And
See, I'm
yeah,
yeah, as a king, and definitely I know for a fact this is my playstyle because I did it in Fable 4 or Fable 3, I think it is, where I just bought all the land I could, had all the money, and then donated it all to the kingdom at the end so I could do all the good things.
right. And the thing is that you like, but I mean, Fable has a very, very I don't want to say simplistic
Loose.
bad guy scale.
I would use the term simplistic. I mean, it's complicated for a video game, but compared to an RPG, it's simplistic.
Right. Because it's
Not city management.
it's a Peter Molyneux
Like
game,
SimCity.
so it's going to be you get no bonuses for being in the middle, so the game rewards you for being either the most pious saint who cries over squished ants, or you kick puppies through field goals. Those are the only two times that a Molyneux game gives you any kind of bonus. And you're like,
Devourer
what was that?
of crunchy chicks.
Pretty much. But yeah, that's exactly what that's what the alignment system gets you. It's either you're a saint or you're Satan. There's no in between. But then again, that's how most games don't reward you for being in the middle or wishy-washy. They always give you, look, you either go hardcore renegade or you go fucking Paragon. There's no in between.
That's why I picked this image here. This is a Hooters in Las Vegas, which is not only a very corrupt city, but it has tons of money and tons of ways to make money.
Yes.
I.e. Hooters.
Yeah, it's a good.
I think it's the theme of base building.
And honestly, Las Vegas is where a lot of players end up turning their towns into. Because, like I said,
Reno, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah. But since
I'm not even going to try to begin with. Like, on the surface... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm saying I'm not even going to try to hide that from the very beginning. From the very beginning of how I'm building my town, or at least how I want to, I'm not going to hide the fact that, or I should say, I'm not going to try to go on this huge, I don't want corruption in my city. Instead of fighting it, I'm just going to go with it. So I'm going to build Vegas to begin with.
Well, the thing here is you're going to be catering to player care to while they're not PCs, as in you're playing, your people at your table are playing it. You're going to be catering to adventurers, and adventurers are scum, or they're self-righteous tools. And you make sure you have a nice part of town where you can I don't know, paladin daycare, where the party goes in and puts the cleric and the paladin into their little room. You know, they're part of town where it's all nice and clean and wonderful, and then you have the rest of town where everything else happens. So make sure that when you build your town, you have grandpa quarters. So for your pearl clutchers, your holy rollers, and your self-righteous twats can go out there and feel good about themselves. And then you have the degenerate, horrible land of debauchery. That's where everybody else goes. Oh, sorry. And you keep a little spot so you can deposit, so you can have your druid turn into a kitty cat. You put him in the park in doggy daycare, and you leave the druid behind, and you put your paladin in daycare, and because he's gonna be fine, because nobody I know who most people who play paladins and clerics always seem to be playing the most fucking holy roller Bible belt thumper, useless idiot groups who's like, no, I care about everything. And you know what? We'll put you in the temple district. and when we need you, we'll come get you. Oh, good. I'm going to spend all of my time praying to the stained glass window because somebody's got a piece of a rusty nail, a skull in a golden box, and a piece of wood over there, and they're totally legitimate, valid holy artifacts. Really. Even though if you put all the pieces together, it's the force of the true cross. Mm-hmm. Sure thing, church. You got this shit. But that's where you dump all your paladins off at, where they can be useless, and your cleric is mostly useless. And then you have the rest of town, because that's where everybody else is. You need to have your place where you get your new gear, the place where you collect all the weird notes and just odd scrolls and shit. And you throw it in this extra area over here. And why? Because every player, come on, you're a GM, you've done this, or you've been a player. You come into town and you're on a quest. And what is the first place players go? The tavern. What's second place players go? Well, the party splits up. What's that?
I was going to say magic shop to make money, so
Okay.
you can pay for your resurrection.
Right. Or sell off whatever loot you've gotten. And then comes whatever the quest the GM has got them on, the almost guaranteed you're going to have the cleric and the paladin go off daycare and go, dear other church guys that are in the area, could you please tell us the secrets to our and could you just give us the plot and the plot details we need, because honestly we both dump statted intelligence, so we're not that smart. Could you just tell us what we believe? Sure thing. And then the rogue is going to go off to the seedier tavern, not the tavern that everyone stays at to sleep, because that's got locked doors. No. He's going to the seedier bar, so that way he can go ask questions to other scumbag. Him and the bar are going to go off and ask scumbag questions in scumbag land. And the wizard is going off to the inevitable library that every town is supposed to have. And he's going to go do lore research, because he saw Gandalf do it once in that one movie. And everybody gets to go have their little role-playing sessions. Yeah?
Oh, it's my wizard does it. I'm not like trying to contradict you, but it's like I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I'm glad I don't do that. My wizard right now is working on making, I guess, ceramic teeth that you can break, chomp on and break, and either heal yourself or recharge your mana.
Okay, see
that's what he's doing on his spare time.
Now, but the thing here is that you're not. Are you guys playing questing heroes, like the people who go out there and are on an adventure, a proper adventure? No, maybe.
No, we're primarily working for the Coasters and Traders Guild, and adventure is everywhere we go.
Okay, but I'm drawing upon old days of standard adventure, of standard class adventuring. Now I'm self-motivated, so I do my own thing. But you're going to assume that NPC adventurers are only going on adventure because they have an adventure that they want to be on, and that requires study the bad guy, figure out what the plot is, because the GM didn't give them enough clues. Because the GM wants you to do some role playing, and that role playing is go to the biker bar, go stand in front of a stained glass window while a guy in a bathrobe tells you what to think, because you're a paladin and you don't have any brain power because you have too many stats that you need to, and you have to dump something. And intelligence it is, and cleric, intelligence not required. Only need to know how to pray really good. I need to have good strength and good wisdom. That's all I need, and some charisma. I need to dump stuff. I need to dump at least one stat, intelligence. But luckily, I'm going to go talk to another guy who probably dumped intelligence, but he's higher ranked than me, so obviously he knows more. Dear priest, I am as dumb as you. I understand. We are all drooling retards. I know. But we are holy. It is truth. God told me. My God told me, and he is your God as well. Yes. Go kill bad guy.
God told me
I
I'm
will
special.
kill bad guy. Good. Yay! I know.
God.
Like, what?
I was like, God, I think I was just repeating myself. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
I'm not 100% sure of everything you're hearing right now because a storm kicked into my internet's being a little funky.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm looking at similar situations, so no. But I know that we're not playing the games like this. But the thing is that the people who you're going to be serving in your town are going to act like this, because deep down, you got to cater to the stereotype, because that's exactly what you are. Now, if say that you were running a military town, like, hey, you got like you've got 3 or 4 large, companies of troops that are all stashed here, and not like a modern company, like actual like medieval military companies. We look at 500 to 1,000 men because it's a large medieval army. We're not looking at Roman legions, but you got a bunch of these guys, and they're all rowdy. It's like, the town may be different because you got to cater to the people who are in that town. And a bunch, 500 to 1,000 heavily armed troops on leave might be a bit more of a difference than having to cater to 15 to 25 ever-changing, constantly rotating out adventurers who are coming in, spending 2-3 weeks based out of the 5, depending on how long they're waiting for new magic items to get created, or how long they're requiring to get enough money to go bring their friend back from the dead, or whatever. They're gonna be there for a week to a month, or like the character of your town will change depending on who you're serving. If you're a dwarven community, a community that's completely underground, that's completely different. It's got a whole different feel. I mean, I know raw stats is one thing, but knowing what you got to cater to is so much more. And if that means you're going to have an entire street where all it is bars and brothels, yeah, you know what? You're going to have an entire street of bars and brothels. That'll be a fantastic role-playing environment where it's like, it's 4 city blocks where all it is bar, strip club, bar, pawn shop, bar, strip club, black market. Oh, so another pawn shop.
Oh, don't forget the.
And what?
Well, especially when you're next to I was about to say, especially when you're right next to Rapanafuck, have a bank with the deal. Oh, we'll hold on to all your money while you're in adventuring, but
God, yes.
yeah. Oh, and you'll get a 10% return daily.
Oh, totally. Yeah, just be Swiss. Just never get it back. I mean, it's you just gotta have a little bit of fun with it. And I know I'm just throwing out a random community. I don't know. I don't have any character on what it would be like, because I know that the town because I've GM now 4 different towns, and each one was a vastly different community from the town before it, because where it's located, the role playing that's going to happen. Because I know that in a completely sterile environment, like I was just running through earlier at the very start of the stream, it sounds like it could be nothing and bland and boring, but it's not really. I can guarantee you the town that grew up on 2 banks of a narrow pass on an inland sea was a way different place than an elven community or a dwarven stronghold or a bunch of refugees living on the edge of a swamp. They all ended up being vastly different groups, and I know it's easy just to digest it down to just raw stats. It's a +1 to economy, +1 this. But the thing here is that in that book, is also this wonderful chart that is important. It's the 3x3 grid, and each square is divided up into 4, and the lot sizes actually matter, because what you end up doing is you're not just building the town, you're actually building your layout for when you're walking around in town. So when you're having you're in town and your GM throws an ambush at you, and knowing that, well, shoot, I got to run down. Okay, we could cut through this building or run around this street corner, and like having that layout really helps at trying to give you what a town might look like. Though I don't particularly like the whole grid square thing, because that's way too American. I mean, that's grid squares are just too American. If you want to have, but then again, it's very Roman American. But I kind of want to have the craziness of, say, an old like old Boston, or some parts of just any old city where the streets just go and do weird shit everywhere. But that's hard to visualize.
Yeah,
You can
if you
just
have a hex
throw
grid,
whatever you want.
it's easier to build an organic.
Yes, and the grid squares do have a very, congratulations, you're new, you're fresh. You can just throw it in here and it will grow.
You know what I like better than grid squares?
Yeah,
Hexes. I want fucking hexes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Hexes are easier to make an organic map.
Yeah. But grid squares are grid squares.
If you have nothing but grids, you just. Sorry, what?
No. Go ahead.
I would say if you have nothing but grid squares, you just almost subconsciously make a square out of the city.
Like Romans did.
Yeah, it's a very Roman way of doing things, and it's just a very nice, easy way to visualize things. But it also allowed for some interesting moments where we had a big fight, and knowing that the layout, because we did do one thing a little different as we started getting more familiar with the rules, was built, instead of having to build entirely, because according to the rules you gotta build inside a square, and we were like, fuck no, no, I want dead ends. I want dead ends and weird side streets. So they were like throwing buildings across where the road grid was, and I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I live near a major a pretty big private university, and there's roads that just stop, just terminate, and you're like, no, the road should go through here. Like, no, it doesn't. There's just houses there now, or no, there's a major campus building there. There's some stores where a road should have been, because they just grew over it. And we're like, no. And some players were like going, yeah, I'm totally going to go take a shortcut through this universe. Ah, fuck. And I'm like, yeah, that's just how this town worked. There wasn't enough room to build that building there, so they just kind of threw it over this, boom, and it made sense. It's a guy. It's there to give us a idea of what things look like, to help visualize. But no, once you get things a little bit more going there, and so it was fun just chasing out. The party ran a bad guy into a corner, and it was like, ha, nowhere to go now. And they're like, oh shit, now we have to actually fight this guy in this alleyway. I'm like, cool. And it made for a bit more of a less, god damn it, everything's just stamped. Boop, boop. So,
yeah.
Anything else you're going to work on?
I'm sorry, I'm still a little catchy. What'd you say?
Anything else you're going to work on? Anything else
Yeah.
you need to focus on?
Well, I have what did I calculate? All right, if I were to pour everything I have right now, I have about 17 or 18 build point within the minimum square hex allowment. I have
Keep in
18 or
mind that
17 or 18 build points worth of cash.
my campaign, silvers are worth gold in other campaigns. Keep that in
Yeah, I
mind.
know.
Okay. So you have that in mind. All right.
I am keeping that in mind. I, I, I've. It's the only reason why I've been able to do some of the stuff I've been able to do is because Connell calls you a gingy GM. By my standards, you are a very generous GM.
I make you guys pay for everything that you got going on,
Yeah.
but I'm not.
I'm not saying we don't earn it.
Yeah.
But trust me when I say most GMs that I play, even myself as a GM, you wouldn't have this much money at this level.
But at the same time, though, like you're building and you're doing stuff, you're trying to invest. Like, how many GMs give you cows, chickens?
That is true. Sure, not all my wealth is in money. That's true.
I was stoked to not have to reach level 10 to be situated in a keep.
Well,
and have to build the freaking keep before I could be situated.
Shit.
Like, it was very organic.
Yeah.
Like you come across a deed, or you have enough money.
It's not. Yeah. Well, it's also not how many GMs actually give out cows. It's also how many players actually accept livestock as payment. Connell was not thrilled to get a cow.
No, he wasn't.
I offered to pay for the cow. He had a cattle. He just gave it to me.
Because he doesn't understand
the
value of cattle.
All I can say is that the Pathfinder game touches people in no spots, and it makes them not see the value of things. Because the game only has two currencies. One of them is experience points, and the other is gold pieces, and that's it. Those are the only things that are worth a shit, according to so many people that play this game. I'm not trying to throw another bingo touch out there for Bruce Rants about Pisa, but they really fucked up the game world. At least this current game world, because they've got so many things that don't really matter, and there's other ways that you can make things matter, but they don't want to get involved with it, and I don't see why.
It reminds me of I've actually got the supplement sitting around somewhere around here. Fantasy Masters by Gary Gygax. Did the town of Valdemar, which was a little, port town, had like 450 buildings. I think it was like 125 fleshed out NPCs and a little map with all the buildings marked and labeled. And I thought it was the greatest thing ever because, like, most of the time you go and look through a supplement and it's like, okay, here's town ABC with X amount of buildings here, and these are the major players, and here's some religious-y things, and here's some wizardy things. But this one was like, if you want to get into the politics, here's some funky-ass ways to do political intrigue, which I never really bothered with because it was kind of clunky. Kind of cool, but kind of clunky. But the thing that got me was that they described every friggin' building, all 450 of them. And then they're like, if you want to buy a building or do repairs on a building, like you could start with wattle and daub and then move on up to wood and stone and then like do brick. And it's X amount of gold pieces for this, that, or the other. And I was like, that's funny. Like you could totally flip a little shack and then increase the value of the property by just switching out the wattle and daub for full timber planks and whatnot. Or if you had a lot of gold, you could go and get actual stonework, and then like as you're improving your building, like maybe you're pissing off one of the NPCs, like this whole area is supposed to be all hovels, and you got this McMansion now, and it's disrupting the trade. And then you got the various factions with the traders and the craftsmen and the thieves guild and all that. And it was like it was only 96 pages, but it gave you enough information to kind of like, if you put some time and effort into it, you could make it a living thing, not just like here's a stop to have your party sell all their old gear, get a couple of upgrades, and go kill some more monsters. Like you could literally like take that, implant it into any of your game systems, and have like a fully fleshed out city for a fraction of the effort. It wasn't the greatest book out there, because there's been way better material since. You know, this is like we're going on almost 40 years now, so it was for its time pretty slick.
Hey, and those are fantastic books.
And I remember looking through that and I'm like, this is cool, and I kept it. And every once in a while, I'll pick it up and go, yeah, they were onto something here. And why isn't this a thing in any of the other books? Like, you got to wait for a supplement, and then the supplement's just a lot of pretty pictures and a lot of words that don't really get to the nitty gritty. It's just all fluff.
I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah. It's like current creators, they either get too big for their britches and it falls flat at some point, or they just don't have enough detail or random tables or that creative spark to give you incentive to actually plan a city.
And the thing, that city building, I know for certain people, it's nice. It's nice to have all those rules, but I know that some games are lighter on it. But I don't know. I like the idea of being able to know that, hey, is this a full timber house? Is this a I want to know all that. Like, I want to know that because it's a fun detail. But I know that some players don't care at all.
Yeah, like who wants to role play whether or not you're picking up mahogany or frickin' spruce?
Right.
It's a damn forest. Let's go kill the goblins.
Because they get tired and they just want to when will any of this matter? And I'm like, because you never know when your GM is going to attack you in your own home. No, they'll never do that. We're the heroes. We're always going to be on the offense. I mean, we're PCs. PCs are always the offense.
I'm somewhere between the lazy.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in between Kai and the lazy player. It's like, I'm not going to ask if there's a spruce or a mahogany, but I'm going to ask, is there hardwood or softwood here?
Most of the time, it's just wood. Unless the game engine gives me a difference between woods, I'm just going to go with wood. Okay, it's wood. It's wood. We're still an old growth, though. I know enough to be that weird crazy guy who's like, oh, hey, I'm going to laugh to myself, and when my GM goes out and says, well, I know I'm the person who will go, hey, we're going to hyper speed grow all the wood, and I'm like going, oh man, that's going to be some shitty fucking wood. And and most people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, just go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's and look at the current quality of wood you're gonna get there. Like, oh yeah, that's gonna be some pretty shitty wood, isn't it? I know by stats it's wood. I know that when I write my shit up, it's like, yeah, I do have a lot of alternate wood types, but most of the time it just comes down to, is it old growth or industrial farming. And most players are like, we don't care. All right, you don't care. That's okay. I know it's dumb, but it's okay.
Those details matter, though.
They do.
I was watching the British series with Michael Blessed
Brian Blessed.
and Brian Blessed. Shit.
Hawkman. He's a Hawkman. He smacked
I know.
Jordan on the ass.
It's late. My brain's tired.
It's okay.
Freaking Brian Blessed. He played what's his name? Long John Silver. It was a Return to Treasure Island. And so John Hawkins, he's an adult now, still working at the pub with his mom. His mom's older than dirt now. And he gets wrapped up in this adventure where he's going to be the auditor of an island where the governor is obviously taking the sugar plantations and skimming money, selling his illicit goods to pirates and whatnot. And then he comes across a Dutchman who was thinking about being a pirate, but he ended up getting in the wood trade because the wood trade was a lot more profitable because rich people like exotic woods, and he could go from island to island chopping trees and weird wooden trinkets and doodads and whatever the hell the rich want. Make more money doing that than rum running or
Yep.
And it was a little touch in that series. Like, it's not the standard, okay, I'm going to go after the money and huzzah, the days or whatever. No, it was like they ran into the Spanish, had some issues, and then the island lost the treasure. But Long John Silver was able to find jewels, and they're smaller and easier to conceal, and he ends up hiding a whole shit ton of treasure, which was like 4 times the amount of the original Treasure Island. So we're talking probably like millions, if not billions, of dollars in that time's money, all crammed in his walking stick, his crutch, at the very end. And he sails off as the winner of the entire adventure. Like, everybody thought, oh, well, fuck, we screwed up. Okay, well, we'll go in on your wood deal, and we'll just harvest all this wood, and we'll kind of recoup our costs, and we'll have a legit business and still make money. Although we lost the pirate treasure, and then the most kick-ass pirate ends up running off with all the money, which was great.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it was kind of hokey. One of those old 80s British series. So the writing wasn't the greatest, but it was great because it had Brian Blessed, and he makes everything great.
Everything he touches usually turns to gold. I'm not relying on Bear for all my opinions, but I will say that Bear would probably side with me on that because adding Brian Blessed into anything seems to be a recipe to have a hit. That's all I'm saying.
The best way I've heard him being described was you take a proper English gentleman, you combine him with Santa Claus, and then a bear. And that there is Brian Blessed. And I can see all three.
I can.
He's also the only actor that I know that's an avid adventurer, too. like legit.
What?
Let's go to the Amazon. Let's go to Everest. If he could probably make it to the moon, he would do it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh. Okay. Well, I
Sorry, I'm a bit quiet.
no, it's okay. I don't know if we exhausted the
I
topic.
missed so much of that. I have nothing I can say.
Was it all choppy as shit for you or no?
Yeah, because I'm presuming the storm that just passed by.
Okay. That just completely understood. I completely understood what you just said there. Any other questions that you do have that haven't been answered yet that you've heard crafting?
Well, before I don't know how much of it Kai heard. 'Cause he didn't really answer us. I don't think he has much there. I have about 17. We'll say for the safe number, 17 build points. Do you think that's enough to start things up, or do you think I should save up? That's in my personal funds.
Honestly, that's enough to get you I mean, honestly, a cheap. Let's see here. Let's see.
Because if
So,
I'm going to be especially if I'm going to be in a, because Rapanafuck, according to Bruce, is right next to a swamp, which is where my claimed location is. So there's certain things I can't get.
well,
But anyway, if I'm going to be doing what we've been discussing, one of the things I want to put in right away is a hospital.
okay.
Temple would be nice too.
How about you start a bit slower, a bit cheaper?
Hi, Apollonie.
Get yourself. What was that?
I'm just saying hi to one of my guests, Apollonie's minion. She has a cutest little truck doggy.
Hello.
Hey, since you're starting out with next to nothing, you
There's
might want to.
steps you got to take to get the chapel, the shrine, the chapel, the temple, the cathedral.
Yeah, just start with the most basic thing you're going to happen. Just start when you first arrive. Take your money, since you only have approximately what you said 16 bucks. Sorry, 16 city bucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna we're just gonna downgrade what build points are down to like city bucks. So you got your 16 city bucks, and you're gonna build it out of wood. Build yourself a nice tavern because you need a place to stay. You need because let's be honest, the tavern is the central hub of any community. The bar is everything.
Mm-hmm.
At least a publican house,
And
something like that.
Yep.
Instead of a temple, you could have a way shrine or a small chapel.
5. So 5 for the inn. The house is free. The tavern is 6. So it's 11. And okay, so you got your. So we'll throw in a shrine because you want to keep your clericy person happy.
Yeah, I got to have something for them to use an altar bowl.
Yep. So you build a tiny little shrine. The shrine is humble. It is a 4 city buck building, and it's there just to plant the flag, saying this this is where a mighty temple will one day grow. And you have it, so that way you got somewhere to start. Then you have a tavern for your drinking, because you need to have a drinking place. And then you need to have next to it your wonderful inn. The actual, because the tavern is not where you sleep, but so you have your tavern inn, so you have the steakhouse plus the hotel for everybody after you eat. That will be all your city bucks. There's a small little your free establishment of housing that will be where the workers and where the people who don't actually pay to sleep somewhere get to stay. Now you have established a city block. It's the centerpiece. It's Main Street. At you can just throw it up. You're now a basic town. You've got what you need. You've got a little bit of money, a little bit of loyalty, some stability has been established. I know a hospital sounds really, really good, but the hospital is currently on the horizon of things you don't want. Now, I'm going to make fun of one of my friends who used to run a bar in a local small town in my area. You won't know it, but it's Tremont. Tremont had a mayor that nobody listened to, because that was just an elected guy who just would come and go every 4 years, or he just whatever. But the real mayor was the guy who ran the big bar that was in Tremont. It was right on one of the main roads. You drove right past it, and for decades he was the unofficial mayor. Everybody who had a problem in Tremont went to the bar and would talk to the guy. I'd talk to my friend's dad, and dad would sit there and, senior would sit there and do all the networking to solve whatever problem that you didn't want to take to City Hall, to the town hall and talk to the. So if you didn't want to solve your problem through City Hall or with the cops, you just took it to senior. Senior would take care of the problem for you. And what you've established now is, in this rundown little town, at the bar, that's where hey, look, so there's you. You're the tavern master who runs the inn. Congratulations. Yeah, you're the mayor. Yeah, you don't have a nice house yet, but you sit there, you cook the meat, you brew, you got the beers, and you got your buddy. He's the bouncer. Well, he's your, unofficially, he's the guy in charge of security. He's the he's the bouncer, but he's also the sheriff. And you have the smart, the smart know-it-all who sits at the bar and drinks all day. He's your magister. He's officially the magister, but he's got a designated bar stool at the end of the bar. And trust me, if you got a problem, it's like, hey, I need to figure out how I'm going to, balance out this. Hey, go talk to the two guys at the end of the bar. There's your there's your chief accountant, and there's your chief your researcher. And every once in a while the shadowy guy who just goes, hey, I know somebody. He's your spy master. There's your 5 most important people who now run the bar. That is your shadow government. It's your government. Everybody's established, but they all live at the tavern. You've got this whole thing now rigged out. You're now somehow through this little bar, you just have through people who just travel through, because it's around an entire month. You're not really actually role playing out every moment of it. So people are coming and going, even if it is just a little way station tavern in the middle of a forest. You're still going to get the local elves, people. There's always people traveling, and you're just, hey, look at that. You've accrued somehow a lot of money. You don't ask where the space bucks are coming from. They just appeared, and now you have, you you might really want to have that hospital. That would be cool. It would be nice, but you might want to use the money that you got from running, from the five wise men at the bar, and who could make a good brisket, and eventually you open like your next month, somebody across the street opens an herbalist shop because you are living out in the woods, and you want some better spice racks, and you want, it's an herbalist shop. Yeah, they sell some quartz crystals and other weird, new age mumbo jumbos. But hey, there's your herbalism right there. And hey, some more people move in. Now you got the ability to have a gardener, a healer. Your thief every once in a while goes over there and buys his poisons, or you got a nice little thing going. Like now we're 2 months in. It's not generating much money, but it is stability. And you said you wanted to have a healer, a healer. Like I know it's not a hospital, but it's working towards one. You pocket whatever extra money you got in there, and then you start looking for, say, we're gonna throw in a library.
A
What was that?
barber.
A barber. Yeah. We'll throw you gotta we'll throw a market is down the road. We can't afford that yet, but you throw in a library. Like I said, it's a bookstore. It's the smart guy shop, and because it's only six gold piece. I mean six city bucks. But hey, we're building it out of wood, so it's 3. But hey, that gives you a lore check and some loyalty. Plus, it gives you cash. We want cash. But now, hey, look. Now you can move the wise guy off his bar stool, and now he's across the street, at the bookstore. And, when he closes the bookstore, he comes over to the bar, and, come morning, like in the evening, he's out there drinking. Well, and he starts figuring out what you can get that will get you some more cash. Hey, we need a mill. Why? Because we want to have a decent amount of grain. Something's it's the grain shop. Done. Fantastic. Okay, so there's some more cash, and that's another $3. And so you look at what can you do that will just get you fast, cheap, early. Well, hey, because I know again you're wanting to build towards. Just throw in a shop. You said a barber shop. You want to have a general store. So that's $8 whole. It's 4. And remember, every month you get a free house district. So as you're throwing that down, hey, you need a blacksmith, so that way you can make your general nails and your metalworking stuff. Okay, so that's $6. Shop is 8, so 4 and 3. Well, we're starting to rapidly hit economic growth is happening, and things you're going to look. Important things here is special base value says 500 gold. Remember, because you played Skyrim, right?
Lots.
Yep.
Okay, so you know that you can drain it. You come in with all the loot in the universe, and the store can't fucking buy it. Same thing happens with towns. Your city can't So you can come in with 100,000 gold pieces in loot to sell, and the town only has 3,000 gold to its entire name. Your shop and your stables are increasing the value of what the town can have. So yeah, spend 5 gold pieces. Well, guess what? Now you've got mounts to sell to people. You want a trade shop? Hey, look! Now you just throw trade shops down for 5 whole city bucks. And remember the 5 wise men that I told you about. They assuming that you put 3s in their primary stats, they generate 5 gold piece, 5 space bucks every single month. Well, hey, look, that's several trade shops. 3 months of trade shop building, and that's a free build point. That's just magically now just dropping into your lap. And hey, look at that. Now it's like now you guaranteed 6 gold pieces, 7 gold pieces, 8, and since you're buying it at half price, because eventually you'll want to build with real material rather than just wood, but stockyards, tanneries, taverns, all of the things that you're going to want to just build to give yourself something. And because as you grow, you're going to want to have increases to stability, increases to try to like drive down unrest or create but the thing is, you're never going to get too big, so you're not going to have to worry about, well, I need stability. Stability only really kicks in because oh no, here's the roll you got to make. Can you beat a DC of like it's low as fuck. Yeah, for like 7 hexes. I mean, 7 hexes. Can you beat if you have all of the people that in positions, like you filled all the jobs with somebody, and even with people who just have a 12 in a stat, and you fill all the jobs up, you're going to hit that stability check without even if you roll a 1, you might have a bit of unrest next month. So, oh no. But for the most part, you're going to be just fine. And as you start building better buildings like observatories or police stations and other things, your jails, and suddenly you're starting to look at the idea of even when I roll a 1, I'm not going to take a penalty because 1 is not an automatic failure. It's just a 1. And then you're just sitting here going, okay, so it's a 1. All right. Plus modifier. I'm still hitting the 12s and 13s I need because I'm small. I'm an efficient town. You're a Hamburg, Germany. And just remember, whenever you fill up the first sheet, you just have to fill up. You just spend the money, establish another district, and keep growing. It's not another hex. It's just in the same district. Well, now you have to worry about, oh no, I got to spend a build point for every additional district that I have. Oh wait, I have a farm. I ignore the first 2 the first 2 points of consumption. Okay, so there's a farm in my hex. So hey, there's some victory gardens and the local farmers market. Well, now I can have a town that I don't have to spend any money on in my 1 hex. It's now 3 districts in size. That's actually a lot of people, and it gets pretty big. Well, now I go out and claim the next 13, the next 10 miles in my radius around me. Okay, the next hex is out from me, and now I put farm. So now I have 6 more farms. Well, now I could potentially drive the number of districts I have up to, you can actually have like 10 districts for free, practically free, where you're not paying a single dime to have all these people. And eventually, when you get big enough where you actually have to pay money for food, you should be so wealthy that you don't care. You're like, oh no, we actually got to pay money for food. We actually got to pay money for a military. We've got it. Because by the time you hit 10 districts, you should be like ridiculously stable. You should be a major capital class city. You should be a Waterdeep or a Hamburg or a London.
That's a chunk of people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the people you're going to have is just, you're going to have like that whole thing where I was like, hey, I'm going to test for the top 10%. Well, now you're looking at like 10, 12,000 people in my town, and I'm going to look for 10% of those people who are going to be of exceptional quality, of at least good, high quality, and then from there I'm going to look for the top 5% who are going to be the exceptional PC stats, and I know what one of my players did, and they laughed about it. It's like, like, why are you keeping creating a dossier on everybody who's got high-end player character stats? He goes, in the event of an emergency or a rebellion, I know immediately who has the stats to actually become a threat to me. And I'm like, what? He goes, look, I know that when push comes to shove, I know which 5 people in the town have like 4 18s in their stat block, okay? I know who the main characters, I know who the protagonist is. It's one of 5 people. And I'm going to, and when shit hits the fan, I'm going to just say, kill those 5 people. And why? Before they become heroes, I'm going to shoot the 5 heroes before they become heroes.
Nice.
And I'm like, wow. So you're just maintaining dossiers on people who have good stat blocks. He goes, yep. I'm going to figure out what class they are, figure out what level they are, and figure out what their stat blocks are before they know what stat blocks they are. And or when a player character dies, he's like, okay, I know which 6 people you're probably going to roll. Oh, can I roll up a new character? No. Don't roll. Your character will not be as good as these 4 people. Here, these are the 4 people that you could play. Huh? I've already got them statted out. I've already figured out what they are. Just play that guy. And players like, I don't want to be from this town. I'm just going to be a traveler. Okay. At that point, we can't. But if you lived here, I know who you are. I know what your stat block is. I've got a file on you. And
You're either part of the Stasi or you're of little competition.
Yeah. Like when you got a player who has the paranoia of the FSB/KGB or the Stasi, and he's like going, I already have a file on this person. Click drop. Like, okay. Don't worry. Don't worry, sir. You're replaceable. What? I already have the next 4 people who are going to replace you already picked out. Is that supposed to make you feel better? No, but it makes me feel better. Oh shit. But it's like that's the kind of weirdness that I know that some of us do.
Judge Roy being in a swamp town to frickin' Michael Corleone.
Yep. And it's just one of those things that once you get in there and start building your money, establishing yourself, you're going to just naturally get to the point where you can start backfilling and putting in money to make things better. Yeah. Like build your breweries, build your alchemy shops, build a bank for cheap, and just make something fun. And as you're planning, look at what gives you discounts and what you can build that will discount you later down the line. So that way you can save cash or just make it.
Well, I've been looking at the things that give you discounts on the list.
Yeah. And remember, there is a disconnect between playing the guy from having it be just raw stats to getting to actually walk around and play around in the city you're creating. I know I just off the top of my head just randomly generated like, here's the first 6 months of what a town that's just gonna just grow up from 10 dudes who hang out at a bar into an actual community. And that's all you need, because you came in and when you get to this new town, hit your fellow players up. Because you're going to have to, when you get this thing established, I keep hammering, you need to fill every job, preferably before you actually get started. I know who's going to be your cabinet. Know who's going to be your ranger, your marshal, your magister. Know it may be player characters, and if you're going to and it's good to get your players, especially if you're going to be established in this town, and this is going to be your base of operations, and you're going to be not not wandering off into the countryside for ever. So when you're doing your 1 week a month, God, it's like the reserves. So when you're doing your reserve to your 1 week a month of being the actual boss, let your players do it, because guess what? Players have good stats, and just look at. Is this the campaign that you have 400,000 followers?
That's not bad.
No, Bruce. I mean,
not me.
No. Is it? I forget which campaign I listen into when I'm able to get on. Is it this game or the Pathfinder game that has
Pathfinder?
Okay, so it's Pathfinder. So yeah, start looking for like lieutenants now. Yeah.
I have 4 dwarven class. Like they're actually named classes. There's a pyromancer. There's a dwarven hammersmith. Crap.
Okay.
Closed on me. Well, it doesn't really matter.
Now,
Dwarven craft.
The question you should be asking now is hey, what's their stat blocks? Because you might end up having a dwarven clan who runs your shit for you. Because, like I said, you're going to need to fill those jobs.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have, I don't know the stat blocks, but there's also 4 dwarves back at Fort Dorgon who are on contract with me. So if I sell the fort, it's not like they don't stay with the fort. Well, they don't have to anyway.
No.
Well, you can always ask them and see if they want to come with ahead of time. I mean, if you're going to go, just ask. It's good to prep this stuff ahead of time and just make sure that they know what's going on.
Agreed.
And just move them.
If your property is in a swamp, you're probably going to want a nice foundation sooner or later. And dwarves, being what they are good bricklayers.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And then we could get some hippie elves to go through the different edibles, like what grows on a swamp? Water chestnuts, freaking wild rice, cranberries, whatever.
Yeah.
Watercress. You could have hoity-toity salads with watercress.
And
then start your grains and whatnot. And swamps also have peat, so that's your fuel source until you start finding coal in the drier areas. Maybe there's a cave system or something. And then you start exporting peat and all these foodstuffs and grains, and that will trickle the economy into something more substantial.
Yeah, there's so many ways to make this as fun as you could possibly make it, and just have fun. Have fun just developing, because all of these tools and descriptions are just there to get you a basis on how you're going to. On what you can, it's the framework to build on. Make it fun.
That makes sense.
Because I know it's like if you look at just spreadsheets, it's boring, but it's more fun when you get to describe what it all looks like, or at least in your head, you know what it all looks like, on how it all fits together.
Start out as Bartertown and end up as the French Riviera.
Yeah,
it's an awesome idea.
And when inevitably a war happens, or some fighting breaks out, you know what you know what you're going to be looking at. You know the fun that's going to happen, and your GM gets to you're creating the terrain piece. He gets to run the scenarios in. It isn't just simply I have no idea what my town looks like. It's just some weird shit I just throw up there. No, you get to have fun with it.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah, because the thing is, the more work you put into it, when Bruce inevitably blows it the fuck up. Because look, that's half of what we do. We're preparing for the inevitable. The GM is going to fuck us eventually. Always just remember, the GM is going to fuck you over. It's just when. And you're just gonna build, make it flavorful, make it fun. If you put enough flavor and awesome into it where it's really cool, the GM won't want to blow it up. And because it's just such a cool place. But inevitably, there will come the moment of you've been lazy, you haven't done too much, and you've attracted attention, and something, the goblin orc horde arrives, the mer people show up, something terrible comes walking out of the swamp, and suddenly, you got croco people walking through your streets, and you got to have a fight. And after 2 or 3 of these, you've proven your town doesn't suck, or, you have a standing army of 500 archers that are just on standby, waiting. And so whenever Godzilla walks out of the water, you have 500 elite archers who just show up there and pincushion the bitch into the ground, because the rules for mass combat are so fucking brokenly lame that 500 peasants with bows will kill pretty much everything. It's kind of sad. I mean, thank God nobody will ever do Pathfinder mass combat rules, but yeah, 500 level 3 dudes with stock arrows will literally slaughter like CR12, CR13, 14 monsters all day long. It's like it like the one dragon who should I am a adult dragon. I am a CR14 creature. I am a powerful badass. I'm gonna fly over here and pause, stop. What? Okay, so you are a single creature, correct? Yes. Okay, so that makes you a diminutive-sized military unit. Okay, there's your CR30, so that puts a modifier in there. And do you have spells? Well, I have breath attack. Okay, so you have spells, so that gives you a modifier, and this, and all right. So anyway, I've got 500 dudes. What? Yeah, we hit. Well, you don't. You're going to hit, but you're not going to do enough damage to kill my unit, and I'm going to fire enough damage fast enough to kill you. What? Yeah, I know. This is my anti-aircraft unit. Plus, since I have ranged, and you really don't have range outside spell casting, I shoot first. Wait, what? Okay, so we open fire first, and dead. What? That's not... Oh, yeah, and we have siege weapons. So we hit harder. No. Yes. Okay. So does every single town have an anti-aircraft unit just built into it? Yes. Oh, that sounds not fair. Oh, don't worry, we pay for it. I mean, we have 4 farms dedicated to just paying for the AA units. Oh, okay. That sounds... So is this like the Minuteman militia? Oh yeah, they're just on standby. No, they don't actually work. They just sit around all day with their bows, just on standby. Does it have to be bows? No, it can be any kind of ranged weapon. Oh, so they're all with short bows. Yeah, folding short bows. So they just kind of walk around and it's like, oh man, it's time for combat. Click, flap, 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 and then watching things just die. It's like, that's not fun. That's not fair. And like, why did you build this thing? Because we all wanted to sleep at night. Huh? We all sleep very, very quietly and comfortable at night, knowing that the only thing that's going to wake us up is if legitimately Godzilla walks in. Oh, okay. Because I mean, that's what one of my players did. Like he did the whole MEPS thing first. Like he's the one who got me on board with the MEPS ASVAB testing, and he laughed. Like he did this. He figured it out. He's like, I want to raise an army of level 8 mercenaries on horseback, mounted combat with lance. You know, so it's like, so they carry lances like flagpoles on the back of their saddles. They're all carrying ranged combat weapons, and this group of 100 mad lads ride out, show up, look at a target, and then ask themselves, can we kill it? And the answer is yes. Like true cavalry nut jobs, they run it down, murder it, and then go home for lunch. Or they go, we're faster. We're on mounted combat. We're on mounts. We're faster. And then they just show up, turn around, head back, and then go, yeah, about 4. Since we move at twice the speed of the foot army, so yeah, it took us 4 days to get back here. So in 4 more days, there'll be this big, huge army of evil bad guys. So and now you got 4 days to call up the militia, call in everybody's now rested, fed, prepared. You move out to the right location, and then he's like, and then the bad guy's like, yeah, we're like 5,000 really, really mean, angry orcs, and then it's like, yeah, but you're about to hit about 2,000 dug in, prepared, rested, ready to ambush you elves who are all with mounted combat, all with ranged combat, and there's more coming in from neighboring towns, and you're suddenly like, oh, we're about to be enveloped, aren't we? And there's no way out of this murder hole, and you're like, yep, there's no way out, and then you're like getting just hunted down by these elite cavalry units are just charging around the background, murdering everybody. Like we should probably run away, and then like, no, these guys have been murdering your supply trains, and like, God, I hate cavalry, and because he's like, yeah, no, I'm running them entirely like dragoons, and they're just running around just murdering everything, and like it seems.
So would you like the extra fine, chunky, or extra chunky salsa?
Yeah. And it's just one of those things where it's like, that was what one of my players just figured it out. And that's where I'm like, because he's the one who sat down and explained to me how to figure out what stat blocks are best. And suddenly when he goes, oh yeah, now that I know that everyone's actually of superior stat lines, because I've only recruit the best, and I'm like, I'm going to make you actually pay money for that. And he goes, okay, how much money? Because at that point, when you're telling a player who's figured out cash, he's like, "All right, I'll pay the budget. I will pay to have professional trained and professional training and professional all of this." And I'm like, "Dear God, he's figured out that and most players are always like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna go call up a militia. Like I'm gonna call up a bunch of peasants and we're gonna give them a bunch of spears and garbage gear and." Then he had this one guy. Then he had the one player who goes, who's just like, "Nah, if you pay for professionals, you get professional quality." And it was just like this thing where it's like, which one of you wins? And then he's like, quality over quantity, unless you have so much quantity that it overwhelms quality. And it's just one of those. It was this odd number of mathing where it's like, no. We could just kill it with bodies. Like, we'll just throw bodies at the problem till the problem goes away. or we can actually raise professionals and not throw bodies at it. But this is what happens when you get to watch a person who's like way into Rome talking to another person who's way into Rome in ancient warfare, having a conversation of going, so are we just doing are we just having a big conversation of Carthage versus Rome and yeah, like yeah, it's pretty much Carthage versus Rome. Who's more professional? Oh yeah, I'm the better one. Sure, I got the better troops. I'm gonna win all the time. And then he's like, so anyway, I have enough people and enough cash to be able to go. I'm gonna throw 20,000 people at you. I could beat that. Okay, I'm gonna throw 20,000 more people at you. I could beat that. I'm gonna throw 20,000 more people at you. Where do you keep getting them? I roam. Fuck you. But D&D, we don't seem to understand that because we're always playing with the idea that, we're playing with medieval combat where it's like, oh no, 500 people fought 500 people. This is a major engagement. And then you get players who go, so anyway, I want to run the Persian Empire. And like, I want to throw 1 million bodies at this problem. And at one point, that was what one of my players went, wait, how many people like? He's like, you're right. I'm just gonna throw 1 million bodies at it. Are you going to stat out the army? He goes, fuck no. At this point, I don't need to. It's just 1 million bodies. And we were laughing at that point because at that point, it's like, oh shit. So are we hitting Chinese Empire fights now? And we're like, yeah, I think we're at that point. And it's like, I can play a Crusader. My Crusader knights are like 500 of the best knights you're gonna fucking get. And I'm like, it's the Han army. It's the Han army. I mean, it's the Wei army. It's just split. And how many people? Yes. And do you have time to count? No. Yes. It's just bodies. A lot of bodies. It's
a lot of movement
over there. and you can just hear it. You can hear it. You can hear it. I can't see them, but I can hear it. Yes. Oh fuck. My knights aren't going to do very much, are they? Like, no. But here's an idea: don't piss off the Han Empire.
Never get in a land war with China.
Or it's like, if 10,000 big dudes on tiny horses show up, just give up. Just pay the tribute and change the flag and let the 10,000 big dudes on tiny horses go somewhere else. Because that's also a funny strategy. Like that's also a big funny strategy. Is like with especially when you try to describe a bunch of Mongolians show up. What do? Don't fight. It's just don't. But players don't think about this often because we're too busy playing our games when we think about on small scales. And it's fun as fuck when you try to scale up. The game does not scale up very well, and we're like, the elephant in the room game that we all balance everything against was a war game, guys. It was supposed to be a war game. Yep. And if you can't war game with a war game, what the fuck are you playing?
It's funny that you mentioned the Han, because months ago I was talking to Bruce how back in '94 I was watching Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Yes. They had a funky translated version, so of the show through poorly translated English. It was really awesome, though. Zhuge Liang, famed strategist of Liu Bei, he gets sent down to Shu to help them out, and they got various islands and whatnot, and the dude wanted him dead. He was always showing how brilliant he was, and the guy was getting pissed off, and he was like, you know what? you got till the end of the day to come up with 5,000 arrows to replenish my archers. And if you fail, then you have to behead yourself to save face. And he's like, okay, kind of a fuck situation, but I'll do it. I'm loyal. And so he talked to one of the admirals, and he's like, hey, I need to borrow some ships, and I need some armor, and some spears, and some bows. And he made straw soldiers on these boats. And then he went over to the enemy encampment across the lake in the fog, lit some torches. They all freaked out. They're like, we're being attacked. And they started shooting them full of arrows. And then after a couple hours, he towed all the boats back and had like 10 times the amount of arrows that he needed to save his ass. Made the guy look like a total fool.
It happens.
And I've always wanted to use something like that in a game, and I can see that happening.
I got yelled at for doing that. Because the GM was like, no, stop collecting. Like, he's like, one, we don't track ammunition. And I'm like, I'm tracking ammunition. I'm not tracking ammunition. I am tracking ammunition. And it's like, he's like, I'm not tracking weight. I'm like, you better track weight. Like, what? Why? Because I'm going to track everything if you don't track weight. And he's like, shit. And then I'm sitting here going, gathering up goblin, all the goblin and orc arrows and all their bows. He goes, why? He goes, they have no resale value. And I'm like going, because I plan on shooting everybody with the shit. He goes, it's low quality. I'm like, we're first level. Everything's low quality right now.
Low quality.
Plus, arrows don't go
kill.
Yeah, you can still kill. Plus, every arrow that I get for free is an arrow I'm not buying. It's an arrow I'm not making. It's you're firing ammunition at me. Thank you. Wait, so is that why you're carrying around a tower shield and you hide behind the tower shield while you reload? Yes. Why? All the arrows are hitting my shield. Well, half of them will be destroyed, and half of them are going to end up back in my quiver. And so I'm going to fire half of their shit back at them. And why? Because I have rapid fire. So yeah, I'm going to fire back three times the ammo shots are coming in. I'm firing back out. I don't want to carry 300 rounds of ammunition. I want to carry 30, and I'm going to wait for everybody else to shoot at me. So that way I can fire back. And one of the players is like, I'm going to play a monk. Like, what? I'm going to play a monk. And why? Because I'm going to stand next to the archer. And I'm just going to catch, all the arrows that are fired at him, I'm going to catch the arrows and then put them in his quiver so he can fire them back at the enemy. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm now a squad support weapon. I have a dedicated reload guy whose entire job is to catch arrows and reload me so I can fire again. And he's like, this is fantastic. And that dynamic group became I'm now the support weapon that's laying down fire from my longbow. And the monk is sitting here carrying all the extra ammunition that I need to fire, and he's grabbing ammo out of the sky, and keeping it, because, well, we're only carrying 60 arrows, because quivers are big. No one's walking around with 12 quivers, and so we're counting on the GM to shoot at us. Otherwise, we're gonna run out of arrows. So we're counting on this shit, and it's just like this weird dynamic. And the GM hated it. Like, could you guys just stop? We're like, no, we're actually playing an interesting team. The monk was entirely there to, if anybody got close to me, the monk would just floor them. Just floor them, throw them, disarm them, do all this dumb shit, and he would just carry my shield around for me until it was, until it was time for me to, do kill at range. He killed close. It was a nice little, it was a working dynamic. And the GM didn't at first hated it, but he eventually came to like the shit. Like, he liked the fact that we were playing a pair of very well cooperating members of a team. We were playing a team. We weren't playing a bunch of individuals. What was that?
Like buddy cops.
Yeah.
The dynamic duo that gets shit done.
Oh, that's better than Bear. Bear had an entire team wipe recently because the party was nothing but a bunch of arguing idiots.
Well, sometimes you have to take a life to, make the grass grow.
And honestly, part of this entire thing really does come down to just having two players who are willing to be who know each other well enough to trust each other to play that kind of a dynamic. And honestly, most of us don't talk to each other enough away from the table to be able to play that kind of teamwork. Because I know that the player who I played that the monk archer the monk archer fire support team combo, I know I would never be able to recreate that, because I would need to be able to play, be in the same time zone as that player again, because he's just not anywhere near us. But I have other friends that we could probably. I have like two friends I know that I would probably maybe be able to have that kind of a dynamic with, but it takes a little bit of give and take of being able to look at another player and go, hey, you want to work together really hard on making our characters mesh into a team. And every once in a while, you'll get that one table where everyone falls into place.
What
was that? Yeah. And where everyone's now basically a very disciplined an efficient murder team. And you'll never have that, because everyone's got their own weird quirk or thing they want to do, and they're not willing to talk to another player and go, hey, I want to do this this thing. How can you back it up? Because there's another player who I know I'll never see this player again, but we had a very hard. My entire job is to be the wall the wall the bad guy can't get past. And I wasn't heavily armored. This game was all about active defense and parries, where I couldn't I was a pretty good fighter. My character was a good fighter, but I spent my entire time being the block guy, the parry, block, deflect.
Have you tried Armored Core 6 yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it good?
It's all right. It's hard.
The developers made himself a target.
Yep.
There's no sense for that, to start the game off like that. I thought the game had some interesting aspects to it, but I'm not looking forward to a replay on it.
No.
It got weird. That dynamic of your archer and the monk, that works out, because if you take real world arrow production, a blacksmith can pump out an arrowhead every 5 minutes if he's got the materials, but then you got to sharpen the stuff. You got to dry out the reeds until they're usable. If you got all the materials, it takes 2 hours to make an arrow. You can get a dozen a day, basically. And so your monk snatching arrows out of the sky. That's like a workforce of like 300 people right there.
I know.
Easily.
Yeah. And it's way more efficient. It's like it's great it's great to use the other guy's effort against them. Like they put the effort, I get to use it. It's logical. I mean, I wish I'd, but it's an odd idea. But then again, the player who did that and we both had the our group of friends, we had an idea that a mentality that because we were so used to GMs being dicks, a lot of these things come from adapting to shit GMs who do stupid shit, who think, oh, I could catch you by doing this. And one of the big things that they would always do is the idea that, well, they're going to auto catch you because they have detect magic up and all this other shit. And then we're like, all right, we're going to go in with nothing, like just basic common shit. And then we're just going to James Bond murder, Assassin's Creed murder, before Assassin's Creed, murder our way up, all right, so, okay, we're in, and we're past the front gates, we're past the guards, past security, find two guards, assassinate the guards, take their shit, work their way up, start murdering our way through, and then, assassinate the target, and then get out. That, that was... It's like the whole idea is we're not going to create a giant ruckus. We're just going to murder enough people and throw them, do the hitman thing of, okay, we killed a guy, throw him in a closet. Killed a guy, throw him in the down the shitter. Throw him in. I throw the bodies in the over the edge into the into the moat. Don't leave a chaos trail. So we were like, it was always this very like odd ways of just having to outsmart. Now, I don't want to say outsmart, but adapt to GM fuckery, and without like, yeah, we're going to bitch about it. Grousing and bitching about our GMs is what we do. Players do that. But the thing here is
solutions to problems without it being weekend at Bernie's.
But players don't like. The thing is that yes, we bitch. Yes, we grouse. Yes, we're going to complain, but we're not going to quit. Well, why don't we quit? Well, because we were young and before the internet, so we didn't really have a lot of ways to just go and say, plus these are our friends. I know a lot. I know the idea that, hey, you actually play with your friends and you want to actually, do the campaign. Your friend who's running it, because I know we're in the modern day where I don't fucking give a shit. You're not my friend. I just play your game. I'm like, no, you are my friend. That's why I'm at your table. I don't want to sit at a table with somebody I don't know. I want to sit at a table with somebody who afterwards I could get a beer with. Or, hey GM, you want to come over to my house because I'm doing a barbecue? Hey, we're doing up a I've got a brisket cooking. You want to come over and bullshit while we drink beer and eat meat? Yes, come on over. We'll drink beer and eat meat. And it's like, you want to, like, hey GM, you want to go on a car trip? Where are we going to? I don't know. It's 3 a.m. Let's go on a fucking car trip. And we're gonna bitch about it. Like, we're gonna have fun. And we're gonna bitch about shit. And then we're gonna come sit at the table because we don't quit games. Like, now I'm older. Yeah, I will now. But for a long time we didn't. So we had to learn tricks to outsmart our GMs. Well, we don't have downtime. Quick, find ways to renew our supplies so we don't have to. The GM is not letting us buy more stuff. Well, figure out how to forage, figure out how to scavenge, figure out how to use other people's shit, and the idea of, hey, I'm going to use the other guy's gear to stab someone, then break their weapon off in them, and then stab them with the hilt. Because I think that's the reason why when Goblin Slayer came out, I'm like, holy shit, a fighter who's playing a resourceful character. Yeah, it's kind of edgelordy, but the idea of no, I stab people with other people's low quality shit, and then I break it off and keep on fighting, and then go pull gear off somebody else and keep on going. That was like, hey, that's some familiar shit there. Wow, somebody else who actually plays that way. And it was an interesting way, like, hey, seeing validation to a certain kind of combat tactics. And I go, that's a Goblin Slayer is a GM is a player under a GM who sucks. I don't want to say he sucks, but he's very that GM is very much a cruel asshole, and he's a player who's playing in a very shitty campaign. It's a fun series, but it's a shitty campaign. Actually, it would be a fun campaign to play in, but it's a very gritty one that's not fun. Or it would be a kind of not a fun game to play unless you're in the right mentality, unless you have a Goblin Slayer mentality. But I played in Goblin Slayer campaigns before Goblin Slayer. But so I've played in that kind of shit. So
that could be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Did you have a busky cowgirl to come home to?
Yeah. And
then there you go.
Yeah. And the thing is that it's
you gotta have that moment of peace in a gritty world so that you don't go full PTSD.
Yeah.
And it's doable. Like in reality, it would suck balls.
It's fun.
But in a game, because it's a game,
yeah,
it would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
You got your Metal Gear procure on site, weapons grabbing, armor wearing, hide in a cardboard box, whatever. Like,
yeah.
Are there specific rules for that? No. You could ad hoc it.
You ad hoc it. You have a lot of fun doing it. And there are rules for doing a lot of cool shit. And then some GMs go, could you not do all that shit? Or we're not playing with those optional rules. We're not playing with all that stuff. I go, could we? It would be cool. It would be really cool if we did.
But I got this whole shelf full of players.
Oh, but I don't want to deal with that complication in my game.
You're right. It is I don't want to deal with the complication. But there's a certain part of it that is the optional rules are they are optional, but man, knowing that you could do certain things if you would just allow sneak it in, I don't want to say sneak it in, but hey, my character wants to be able to do this. Can I? Yeah. Or I'm not sure. And then you go open the book and go, okay, so this is how I plan on using it. And then you walk them through it so that way you don't ambush the guy. And I don't know. You get to have a lot. Yeah. Just fun. I really want to say I want to do more. I want to have more, but I also want to have it be simplified at the same time. But that's also because I play both overly crunchy games and very overly soft and fluffy games. I don't know. It's hard calling a storyteller game soft and fluffy compared to level crunchy, but yeah. But there's so many fun ways of doing things, and I guess I just want to have as many fun ways of doing things as I can. But then again, I've also I also just bought a copy of Ars Magica just so that way I can relearn a new, better copy, so I can restudy up on how to make Magic more interesting. So, and Ars Magica is definitely in the Mage Ascension levels of. I thought Magic was supposed to be fun. No. Yes. No. But it's complex. Okay, go away. It's fun.
Well, that is one of the problems I personally have with Magic in most systems.
It's very static.
Magic is fun. It's also incredibly simple.
It's
Most systems just like, I don't know. It just feels like Bruce's like even just something simple like Bruce's exploding dice make Magic feel a lot more dynamic than it does in a
Well,
lot
yeah,
of
it's
other
the
games.
chaos factor.
yeah.
Chaos factors are fun.
Uh-huh.
I know that sounds stupid, but it actually works. Try it.
No, it is fun. But I think part of it would actually come down, at least for me. I want to. I've been wanting. I've been wanting a more flexible Magic, like, because I want to have some. Like, I want to find a way to adapt Magic that with the idea that I want to. I want to almost get away from the idea of the spell slot, spell level mentality, because I know there's an idea of what levels and spells and stock concepts where the idea of here's a fireball, and the fireball is always going to be at their level spell, and as you go up levels, and it increases damage to level 10, and then it tops out 10d6. Potentially 60 points of damage, probably more like 24, which is not that impressive actually when you think about it. But then you realize, well, how do I get better at being an ignition, an ignis, a fire spell bender? I want to be able to do more with spells. Well, no, you need to wait until meteor swarm or delayed blast fireball kicks in, and you still only get a few bits of that. I like Bruce's system with the spell point system. That's actually pretty cool, and I like that. And I can see where it could be more flexible, but I've also, like I said, I've been reading with Ars Magica, and I've been reading Mage the Ascension, and I'm seeing where, okay, combinations of spheres, combinations of this, with Ars Magica, is as you become more powerful, you can either become more diverse or more focused, and it gets more interesting on how you could, like, I'm only good at doing, like, look, I'm really good at burning something, really good at doing this one thing really well, but then on the fly, you can make things more flexible. That kind of break, because I know this is kind of coming from the fact that I know spellcasters are not supposed to be the damage dealing blast. I know they had the reputation for being the damage dealing blasters who just ruin all things, because we're all used to the idea of lightning bolt, blam, 66 to one person, and that sounds big. It sounds scary and powerful until you roll 66, and then the numbers don't sound that scary. It's, you hit somebody and then like, that's actually not that bad. It's like 22 points of damage. I rolled high, and it's like I rolled a little bit above average, 22 points of damage, and that was your lightning bolt. What?
But your description of the cartoon Aladdin. Phenomenal cosmic power. Itty bitty living space.
Yeah.
Like
And when you think about,
it's much more powerful on the surface.
oh yeah, and think about how awesome Fireball sounds. And you're like, awesome, I got my Fireball, 5d6 damage, boom, yeah. And that's when you realize that you just threw your one Fireball you memorized, and you rolled okay damage. You got 12, 13, 14 points of damage, and they probably saved on their reflex, so they took half. So 6 to 8 points of damage. That's your big explosion. That was everything you were. That was your iconic ability, and you got to do it once, and you're done. and now you're kind of going, so did anybody die from that little poof of fire? And some goblins are like, but the orcs are like, oh, no, I'm pretty good. I'm good. The drow in the back is going, it bounced off my SR. There's a hobgoblin who goes, you singed my fur. I'm going to break you. And you're like, oh no, that was my only fireball. Meanwhile, you have fighters who, cast punch. I cast swing and hit for stupid amounts of damage. Just routinely, regularly, just machining it out. Just mechanically hit for just all day long, massive damage. And you're like, well, that's the fighter's supposed to do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's the reason why we made fun of warlocks in 5th edition, because they have Eldritch Blast. It was their only ability. I know it's like we're like, why do wizards get to have cantrip? Like, why do all casters get cantrips now at Infinite? Because they needed to have something reliable. I know I used to understand that. Well, I'm out of spells, but luckily I'm not out of clips. As you pull up the machine gun, as you pull up your heavy crossbow, it's like, well, I guess I have to go out and shoot. And you're like, oh dear God, this is what I've been reduced to. And that's what it just turns into repeatedly. And it's like, I always told my players that. And then one day I actually had to play a wizard, and then I ran out of spell slots, and I had to pull out a heavy crossbow. And the GM, who was used to me being the GM, goes, you always told us that you could just pull out a heavy crossbow. And I go, yep, I guess that's what I'm doing. And it's like, hey, wizard, what are you doing? Hiding behind a log. Doing what? Reloading. And I fire a crossbow bolt every other round. It's like, you want to do anything more useful? I can't. Why? I'm out of offense spells. And that's all I'm doing is this one thing. And that was like, that's boring. It's like, why are we doing this? Why are we subjecting our players to this? Well, because that's how spellcasting has always worked. It's how it will always. That's how it always will work. It's always how it has worked. You're always
until the mage learns how to suck the life out of a nearby enemy to replenish his mana.
Yeah, and you should be able to do something more, but we lock people into, okay, so cool, I have a spell point system. It allows me to cast the same spell repeatedly. Okay, so I can just do this spell, this save spell, machine gun it. Every round I can just fire off semi-auto this one spell. I'm like, but couldn't I, could I, take, as I level up, gain mastery to go, I want to be able to twin spell it, or I want to make this single target spell into a touch attack, so that way I can bypass resistances, or could I possibly focus fire it so that way it becomes a continuous thing where if I concentrate on it, I can just sit there and just hold the spell on top of a target. So if I hit them once and then continually concentrate, I can just keep holding the beam on the target long enough to, just melt them down. Or could I do this other effect, or could I possibly change the element of it? Could I do this other, but we're not used to no, the best you can possibly, no, the best I can do for you is, this almost sounds like Pawn Stars. Best I can do for you is upcast spell level for bonus damage. Is that
I was
all
just thinking of
is that
habitual line crosser?
Yeah.
That episode where he was talking about the Navy ship with the laser doing the Kamehameha.
Yep. It's like the best of the well, you can take a meta magic and for 4 extra levels you can make the spell have a bigger AoE. Oh wow, so I had to wait till I'm level 14 to be able to cast a level, so I can wait till level 15 to be able to cast a level 3 spell with a 50% increase to AoE. Yup. That kind of sucks. Hey, You wanted a better spell. No, I wanted a better spell, not wait till I could either cast Meteor Swarm, Disintegrate, or Fireball with a slightly bigger AoE. Or I want to cast Fireball with slightly better damage. Oh.
That's where volume of fire.
I'd say Bruce is.
I don't know if I'd allow that.
You have the
I'd say Bruce is doing pretty well in that aspect.
Yeah.
magic missile or a fireball, and at some point you increase the volley.
Max is out currently at 10d6, but you can throw feats into it for meta magic to boost it up by increments of 5, and it'll raise the spell level 2 levels. Feat out of APG, pretty good feat. Forget the name of it. I really do like a lot of the meta magic feats from the APG. Not so much the ultimate magic though.
Yeah.
Then you also have this. You have scrolls.
Scrolls also are a double-edged sword, because if you keep your scrolls on a belt, so you don't have to take the extra time to rummage through your pack, any sort of fire is going to burn your scrolls. I know. I lost a crap ton recently in 2 games back, 3 games back,
something like that.
couple games back.
We don't talk about that.
I don't try to be a total dick to DM, but when certain things happen, I mean, I need some die rolls here. This could cause it.
Yeah.
It's that level of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, regardless of how good we get, how awesome our die rolls one game or the other, there's always going to be that fuck up. And sometimes it's a big fuck up, which just adds to the flavor and color of the game if you don't die.
I do try to make it interesting and challenging.
And if you do die, well, then you
Yeah.
an awesome story to tell.
I mean, I didn't
Oh, it was
TPK you guys.
that depends on how you
I did
die.
not TPK you guys like I TPK'd last.
Like, for example, Dungeons and Lasers. No, that is true. Interesting story to tell, though. That depends on how you died. Like, for example, Dungeons and Lasers recently released a dragon duck. Are you going to admit that killed you?
I don't know.
I died to a giant duck.
Fucking.
If I'm gonna go and get drinks in a bar,
Look,
no.
if you die to a duck, don't no. Just accept that one. Go. My character died to a duck. Are you gonna come back? No. I have earned my afterlife. Why? The duck killed me. Nope. I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna live in the afterlife. My next character will be someone far cooler. I don't know. Maybe a ranger who has geese as his animal companion. And if you're like, why a goose? I'm like, it's a Canadian goose. You're gonna sit there. You go like, he's oh god, it's honking at me. Oh no. As this giant bird walks over to you and then pecks and beats you to death because honestly your animal companions don't do enough damage to be useful anyway. So
Yeah. Well, it's like I actually have a mongoose, where my character's name got his little nickname. He has a mongoose that I have purposely done nothing with, so I don't want it dead.
okay. I would like to continue, but unfortunately, it's past 12:30. I would like to get some sleep tonight.
Yeah, I get it. I've had a few moments of fatigue too. Come back next show will be the 3rd of May, but we'll be back here doing that, and we'll have another set of questions and themes for Kai and me to hem over. I really wanted him to be able to get in the weeds with Crafting Gamer today and be able to get everything answered. And if there's more questions that you have, throw them in for us in the
Yeah.
chat on the channel comments, on the comments for this particular video. We'll be happy to read those out first of next show. And thank you ever so much. It's a pleasure to have 10 of our friends come by and sit with us in the room. You guys want to say goodbye before we leave?
Always.
No, I'm just gonna say goodnight. I'm gonna enjoy the next 2 weeks. So